get the orb, get the armor. Do you have armor?
Yep.
You have to buy, yes.
Now you sound like Christian.
Good job, Frankie.
Nice, Frankie! I can't recommend this. This is only for black belt orbers. Oh my god, that's crazy.
Hello and welcome to OMEN Dojo. My name is Frankie Ward, and if you know me, you know that I'm always trying to get better at Counter-Strike Global Offensive. And I was thinking, I've been playing for a while now, but how do I take my training up a notch? And then I realised I know a few guys who are kind of really utterly amazing at this game. And I am, of course, talking about Astralis. I'm having a sit down with the legendary coach Zonic to ask him about how to prepare for my opponents and exploit their weaknesses, and also how to keep my teammates in check and make sure we do not tilt on that server. Zonic, thank you so much for joining me. I suppose the first thing we should talk about is the best way to prepare for a match. What tips have you got for me?
I think the best way to prepare for a match is obviously looking at your opponent, see some of the different patterns and what their tendencies are. I always look thoroughly the last 2 to 3 matches of each opponent that we are facing to get a good idea of what they do, because they also anti-strat. So they might have a specific plan for a game against one opponent, and then a different plan for another opponent. But if you see a couple of matches, then you'll get a pattern of what you can exploit against them. And then obviously I prepare my players for it and make sure that what do we have in our game book that can fit their style of play.
How do you find weaknesses in your opponent's playstyle or even game plan that you can exploit?
It varies. Obviously, we play a lot of times against the same opponent throughout the year, so we know the top 10 teams in the world pretty well. So often it's about shifting up your own game a little bit. But we have different tools, us coaches in Counter-Strike, and some prefer a specific tool, and others just want to watch demos through the game, or just watch a VOD on a stream. I have a little bit of a different approach. I'm not going to tell too much about it. But yeah, I think that the way that we prepare is really in sync with the players. We have a mutual agreement on how we should approach the preparation, and yeah, it's about making sure that you get a good understanding on how your opponent play, and then obviously use something from your own playbook that you can use to anti-strat them.
So where do you start with devising new strategies as opposed to just looking at your opponents?
Making new strategies is something that comes up to us on a daily basis. It's actually quite funny, because sometimes when I'm not at the PC, but when I'm out with my kids or out shopping groceries or just about to fall asleep in the night, then I come up with a possible great idea, and then I need to write it down. So my wife sometimes complains a lot about me when I'm in a queue at the local supermarket, and then I have to leave because I just came up with this idea and I don't want to forget about it, so I have to write it down. But otherwise, we also like to just set off some time during the day just to go out onto the server, not with a special purpose, but just to find out new stuff or come up with a great idea. Because sometimes if you don't think about it, then it doesn't come up to you. But actually, when you just go on the server and you just play around for a little bit, then you start to activate your brain, and then you maybe come out with something. But there's also a lot of dead time where you spend 2 hours on the server, and after that you are like, okay, I didn't really come up with anything, and I just wasted 2 hours. But in the long run, it can help you win a lot of great matches and eventually a tournament.
You are dealing with 5 personalities, 5 of the best players we've ever seen in Counter-Strike, and now actually you have even more players on your roster. How do you balance those personalities both in and outside of the game?
I think for me it's important to be a positive leader and to involve the players in the decision making. I've never been a fan of like dictatorship or me just saying what needs to be done. For me, it's always been an important thing for me as a coach to hand out responsibilities to the players so that they feel part of the team. And now we have more players, and they will be included as well within the process, because ultimately we are in the same boat, every one of us, and we want to win tournaments and we want to get more trophies in the Astralis cabinet. So being a positive and a thorough leader, for me it's always been about working hard, making sure that the players know that even though I have 2 kids at home, I still travel with the boys, usually 200 days a year, but this year is not the case. But I'm always working hard, always being there, putting in extra hours, because then I assume that they will then return the favor by working just as hard as I do, and then eventually we'll hopefully have a greater chance of winning a tournament. So working hard is definitely a key to success as a coach, because then your players will work hard for you if they know that you are giving up a lot of things for them.
Okay, I'm going to bear that in mind. I think those are all things I can do. So really, I just need to work on my positions, obviously learn from your squad, and also my recoil control. But that's really definitely on me, Zonic. Thank you so much for talking to me.